You're listening to The Wells Report, which will return in 1 minute. The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. My name is John David Wells. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We depropagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, both yours and mine. So let's compare. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. First son Hunter Biden is now a convicted felon. It happened earlier this morning. In fact, some 38 minutes ago, first son Hunter Biden was found guilty on all charges in his historic criminal case, focused on his purchase of a firearm in 2018. Hunter Biden faced a trial this month that lasted more than a week, included emotional testimony from members of his family, including daughter Naomi Biden, ex-wife Kathleen Buell, and sister-in-law turned girlfriend Hallie Biden. Prosecutors worked to prove that Hunter Biden lied on a federal firearms form known as an ATF Form 4473 in October of 2018 when he ticked the box labeled no when he was asked if an unlawful purchase of a firearm, if he was an unlawful user of a firearm, or addicted to controlled substances. Hunter Biden purchased the gun from a store called StarQuest Shooters and Survival Supply in Wilmington, Delaware. Hunter faced charges of making a false statement about the purchase of a gun, making a false statement related to information required to be kept by a federally licensed gun dealer, and possession of a gun by a person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance. He pled not guilty in the case. Hunter Biden was a well-documented history or has a well-documented history of drug abuse, which was most notably documented in his 2021 memoir, Beautiful Things, which walks readers through his previous need to smoke crack cocaine every 20 minutes. How his addiction was so prolific, he referred to himself as a crack daddy to drug dealers, and anecdotes revolving around drug deals, such as a Washington, D.C. crack dealer Biden nicknamed Bicycles. In his defense team, led by attorney Abby Lowell, did not dispute Hunter Biden's long history with substance abuse and worked to try to make that as not important as apparently the jury found it. It also included an addiction to alcohol, instead arguing that on the day that Hunter Biden purchased the Colt Cobra 38, he did not consider himself an active drug addict, citing the first son's sting in rehab ahead of the October 2018 purchase. This is the live update, by the way, coming to us from Fox News. The president of the United States, President Biden, last week ruled out pardoning his son Hunter if he's convicted on charges, and he was, in his ongoing felony trial. In an interview with ABC News' David Muir in Normandy, France, Biden was asked whether he would accept the results of the federal trial underway, which he replied, one-word answer, yes. When asked if he would rule out pardoning Hunter Biden if convicted, President Biden also answered yes. Back to the live updates from 21 minutes ago. Judge Nareka indicated she would set a date for hearing for sentencing at a later time after the Delaware jury found the president's son guilty on all charges today. Hunter Biden was found guilty of charges of making a false statement, etc. Let's see, this from 7 minutes ago. Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said that Hunter Biden's verdict is a step toward accountability moments after Biden was found guilty on all three counts. Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal was smoked out after scrutiny by a federal judge, he said in a statement. Today's verdict is a step forward in accountability, but until the Department of Justice investigates everyone involved in the Biden's corrupt influence peddling schemes that generated over $18 million in foreign payments to the Biden family, it will be clear department officials continue to cover for the big guy, Joe Biden. Hunter Biden was found guilty of charges, as we have said already. Let's see what else. That was the flashback. 34 minutes ago, Hunter Biden showed little emotion after the guilty verdict was read. Hunter Biden showed very little emotions following the guilty verdict in court today. He was seen smiling after the verdict, did not have any tears or visible signs of emotion. James Biden, Hunter's uncle, appeared angry after hearing the verdict. Hunter Biden appeared motionless, looking ahead with wide eyes as the guilty verdict was read. After the counts were read, Biden turned and hugged a member of his legal team before standing up and flashing a smile to his lead defense attorney, Abbe Lowell. Biden then kissed his wife, Melissa, as they left the courtroom. Some of Biden's supporters were not able to make it back to the courtroom once news of a verdict had spread, with long security lines forming at the time. Some were trying to regain access to the courthouse. That is, those are the live updates from Fox News. Let's see if there's anything else. There is an analysis here from CNN. Hunter Biden will likely file an appeal, but faces cost constraints due to civil lawsuits. Following Hunter Biden's conviction on all three counts, his lawyers are likely to prepare a set of appeals, according to CNN chief legal affairs correspondent Paula Reed. Quote, I would expect there would be a series of appeals, but there are questions about just how many resources he has remaining to fund his legal defense. He is right now not working. His longtime friend and attorney, Kevin Morris, has been paying most of his legal bills, according to Wolf Blitzer reporting on CNN Newsroom. Morris, along with his other lawyer, Abbe Lowell, have been pursuing an aggressive, forward-leaning strategy with Hunter Biden's legal defense, but the president's son may be facing ballooning legal costs. It's not just these criminal trials he's facing. He and his lawyers are pursuing this very aggressive litigious campaign against his detractors. They have a lot of civil lawsuits that are costing them a lot of money. That was from 13 minutes ago. And so what do you think? What do you see when it comes to Hunter Biden? He is now guilty of those firearms offenses. It is a felony. He faces 15 years in jail. Should he go? Should Hunter Biden go to jail? I said yesterday, and I maintain that Hunter Biden probably would benefit greatly from about 6 months in a controlled environment with comprehensive psychological help. I would say that would be a good thing. But I'm not trying to throw Hunter Biden in jail. Hunter Biden is a guy who very likely would face jail time if his name was Hunter Smith for these charges, if they were ever filed at all. But it looks like he has a situation where his hopefully friendly jury, the jury pool hopefully being friendly, did not necessarily appear this time. The jury very carefully considered all of this and came up with a guilty verdict in a relatively quick process. So, should Hunter Biden go to jail? Yes or no? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Should he face jail time? Yes or no? Also, what about the president? The president of the United States has a son that has just been convicted on felony charges. He also faces felony charges in tax court in Los Angeles. This is not good news for that defense of that case. If he's found guilty there, he faces much more than slap on the wrist territory. If you can consider any felony a slap on the wrist, it's not. But certainly not facing jail time is in the cards for this particular set of guilty verdicts. But that tax thing, if he's found guilty there, he's going to prison. So if you're the president of the United States and your son faces federal prison for tax charges, do you pardon him? So, should Hunter Biden go to jail? Should President Biden pardon his son? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. These are federal charges. The president is within his purvey to pardon his son, should he? Many people have said that there would be a very high cost if President Biden pardoned his son. A very high cost. Okay. So, wouldn't you pay that? If you were the president of the United States and your son faced significant jail time for tax evasion and whatever other charges are in LA, would you pardon him? It might cost you your reelection. That's another question. If President Biden did indeed pardon his son, would he lose the election because of it? I don't think so. I don't think anybody who supports President Biden would care. I mean, that's the level of absolute abandon any kind of disbelief and follow along with the Biden train that we've seen time and time again. Same thing with President Trump. This is not new. There are people that will close their eyes to misdoings or misdeeds just to support the guy because they just support the guy. And no amount of conversation will talk them out of it. And so I don't believe that the president would face any kind of problem whatsoever if he pardoned his son. I mean, there would be a lot of talking heads, politicos, Pauls. They would stand up and say, "My God, this is an outrage." Would it go anywhere? I don't think so. And if you were the president and your child was facing jail time, would you indeed pardon your son? I have 4 sons. They have, from time to time, come in contact with the law. Nothing serious. Although I believe that DUIs are serious, but nothing in the form of a felony here. So, would you pardon your son? I forgave my sons for their DUIs. But still, I think about them as making just absolutely foolish and idiotic mistakes. That was just silly. But I forgave them for it. I mean, but if I was the president of the United States and one of my sons was facing significant jail time, I don't know whether I would do an outright pardon or commute the sentence, but I would keep them out of jail. I would. Even if it cost me my job. And the reason is because family's more important. I believe that if Joe Biden doesn't pardon his son, I think that points to just a bit too much commitment to politics. Am I wrong in that? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. That's what we're looking for here. We are looking for some kind of resolution. Do you believe the president should pardon Hunter Biden? Do you believe that Hunter Biden should go to jail? If you were the president, would you pardon your son? Would there be backlash politically? Those are the questions we're asking. Those are the questions we're asking. Those are the questions. Those are the questions we're asking. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. This is the Wells Report. Thanks very much for being a part of this broadcast. If you have a chat that you would like to share, please by all means okay, this is like not good. Please by all means share it with us. Call us on the telephone. You're the president of the United States. Your son has just become a felon. Do you pardon him? Yes or no, and why? The Wells Report continues in just a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. Telephone number 817-379-2172. Hunter Biden is guilty. You're the president of the United States. He is your son. Do you pardon him, yes or no, and why? I would. Because I care more about my son than my political fortunes. Because people would say, for whatever reason, that President Biden would indeed damage himself politically if he pardoned his son. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. The mainstream media would back him up 100%, just like they do right now. It wouldn't matter one way or another. And Hunter Biden would be out of jail. This is part and parcel of the idea that no one is above the law, vaporizes when it comes to reality. I mean, I understand. You're saying, equal protection under the law, John David. Nobody's above the law, but yet you'd pardon your son. Well, I would hold him responsible personally forever. I'd just keep him out of jail. I'd probably commute his sentence as opposed to doing a full pardon. And that's probably what Joe Biden is going to do if he is forced to. Remember, Hunter Biden is going to LA for tax evasion charges and other things. And so this idea the Biden family also has improper dealings with foreign nations, that's hanging over their head too. But I don't think pardoning his son is going to harm him at all. Absolutely not. Because the simple thing, the mainstream media is going to come out and say, well, what would you do? Would you pardon your son? There is something interesting there. I have been a Little League umpire. And I have been an umpire in a game where my son was playing. And I have been in baseball games where my son was playing and he watched strike 3 go by twice. And I rang him up both times. I was giving him absolutely no slack. No slack at all. But of course, that's a Little League baseball game. But the idea of integrity is still the same. And so you have this idea that, okay, you're keeping your son out of jail. That kind of tramples on that integrity, doesn't it? If you're the president and your son is facing jail time and you pardon him, that is people who essentially are above the law. And I would do it. It's not that simple. This is not a simple thing. This is a character test. This is a test of what you truly and honestly believe. Now, am I condemning myself for what would be a lapse in character? Maybe. I have to think about this. But as I sit here right now, if I was the president of the United States and my son was a convicted felon and was sentenced to jail, I think I'd pardon him. What about you? 817-379-2172. Can Hunter Biden still practice law? No. Blood is thicker than water. Yes. Yes, it is. And we all face character tests. And this one is indeed exactly that. 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. President Biden also in the news today. Polling suggests that idea of buying votes by paying off student loans is not going over well, with some 70% of Americans saying so. We'll be talking more about that. Also, the president had a very bad day at the Juneteenth celebration at the White House. We'll show you video of that as we continue here on the Wells Report.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare.
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare.
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Thanks very much for being a part of our broadcast. So President Biden has given away billions in student loan relief to college kids who got in way over their head and can't pay their loan bills. Well, that's a bad example to set for those kids, but that's what the president did. Apparently, that didn't work well as far as the American people are concerned. Fox News reports President Biden's student loan handouts, a campaign priority for the Democratic incumbent, received approval from only 30% of Americans. This according to the result of a new national poll released today. 3 in 10 U.S. adults say they approve of how President Biden has handled the issue of student loan debt. 4 in 10 disapprove, according to this new poll from the University of Chicago Harris School of Public Policy. The Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research found that that others are neutral, or they say they don't know enough to say. Among those responsible for unpaid student loan debt, either themselves or a family member, just 36% of respondents approved of President Biden's handing out the handouts. Whoa. While 34% disapprove. Only 36% of people that are dealing with unpaid loan debt, either for themselves or a family member, approve of President Biden's handling of those handouts. Only 36% of Americans. What does that tell you? Well, that tells you that the idea of say, for example, paying your bills and paying your debts is still alive in America. This is something that if you happen to be on the Democrat side of the ledger, you need to pay attention to this. This is an idea whereby buying votes does not seem to be working. The results reveal a deep divide over the issue of student debt, even as President Biden is pressing ahead with a new cancellation plan in a bid to energize young adults and Black and Hispanic Americans. Really? These groups are more likely to prioritize student loan relief, but have flagging approval for the president, according to the Associated Press. Well, yeah. The Associated Press is reporting accurately when they say that there are a lot of minority voters who are backing away from the president. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about this. Let's see. Let me go back here. Yeah. This is bad. This is bad for the president. He is doing something that he was sure that was going to get a much better response than this. The poll of 1,309 adults was conducted May 16th through the 21st, using a sample drawn from NROC's probability-based AmeriSpeak panel, which is designed to be representative of the U.S. population. The margin of sampling error for all respondents is plus or minus 3.7%. By the way, the new plan, the new give back of student debt, would erase some or all debt for several groups. Those with so much accrued interest that they owe more than they originally borrowed. Those who have been repaying undergraduate loans for at least 20 years. Borrowers who went to low-value college programs that leave graduates with large sums of debts compared to their earnings, and those who face other kinds of financial hardships. I mean, this is just awful. You know, I don't want to pay for those college loans. I mean, this is something that touches all of us. Why should I have a hand in paying for the college education of people, not my children? And indeed, is the backlash from this going to be more expensive than the support gleaned from it? It appears as that's the case. It appears as though the president is working his way through a vote buying campaign, and nobody in America is buying it. A small number, about a third. A third. So, by the way, when you start talking about it, the poll also found that none of the categories have support from a majority of Americans. Just under half supported relief for those who had made on-time payments for 20 years. 44% supported for people who owe more on their loan than they originally borrowed. 4 in 10 supported it for those who went to an institution that left borrowers with large amount of debts compared to their incomes or facing other forms of financial hardship. 4 in 10 adults said it's extremely to very important for the federal government to provide student debt relief. A similar share said it's not too important or not important at all. 1/4 is in the middle, saying that they believe it's somewhat important. 15% of Republicans said it's extremely or very important to prioritize government action on student debt, compared to 58% of Democrats. Let me explain something to you. You know, this is a situation where all of this is just plain horrifying vote buying. Will it work? I don't think so. Even the people that are being benefited by it don't have a whole lot of great support for it, which I find very interesting. Elsewhere in the president's world, President Biden appeared to freeze during a Juneteenth celebration at the White House yesterday. Biden is 81 years old. He was videoed standing still as a stone while those around him, including Vice President Kamala Harris, clapped and danced to a concert featuring gospel singer Kirk Franklin. I mean, this was disturbing, by the way. I watched this video. I've watched it a couple of times. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's pretty serious. Take a look at this. I don't know what he's thinking, and I don't know that he may not be thinking anything. But watch this video and you tell me what you think as you see the president possibly freeze at a White House event. Here is the video. Thanks very much for being with us on the Wells Report. Check this out. So just exactly what are we seeing there? What are we seeing there? What is that man thinking? Is he watching the pretty cellophane flowers open up before his very eyes, just stunned and standing there and immobile? What's going on with the president? He's just standing there with a frozen smile on his face. He looked a lot like a mannequin. He responded to almost nothing. Somebody puts his arm around him and he goes, "Oh, hi." What's going on? Was he so high that he couldn't really comprehend or even think about what was going on? Or is he so damaged that he really has no idea what's going on? What is happening with our president? What are they trying to do to solve the issues that are abundantly available and for anybody's perusal at any time? How is that guy going to be able to get through a debate with Donald Trump? How is that guy going to be able to do it? And he's the president of the United States. President Biden gets on that debate stage and blows it. Would you believe that that would be the time for China to invade Taiwan? I mean, there have already been significant world events based on what is obviously a reticent Joe Biden to do anything to maintain or try to disrupt the status quo ante of Iran being the number one terror state in the world, attacking one of our allies. President Biden talking about how valuable our allies are. Really? Ask the government of Israel what they think of how valuable, how they think the United States values them. Ask them. They're going to say not much. Not much. More about that, by the way, coming up a little bit later on. Elsewhere in politics, as we take a look at this bizarre turn of events with the president of the United States, his son, now a convicted felon, etc. What do you do with that? Well, what you do with that is you try to turn it into a political advantage in some way, shape, or form. It's probably a hackneyed explanation, but that's probably what you do. And then what you do is you keep working as hard as you possibly can to get rid of anybody who might get in the way of your reelection. 2 New York residents, backed by the Democrat National Committee, have sued Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to try to keep the independent presidential candidate off the ballot in November in New York. They accuse his campaign of submitting invalid petition signatures and engaging in fraudulent activities to collect them. The lawsuit, filed last Thursday in the New York Supreme Court in Nassau County, is the first ballot access lawsuit targeting Kennedy so far, coordinated by the DNC, which has been scrutinizing Kennedy's efforts to qualify for state ballots across the country. The two plaintiffs, Elaine Portuondo Smith, that's Elaine Portuondo Smith, and Audrina Wyatt, claim about 115,000 of the 146,135 signatures submitted last month by Kennedy's We the People signature collecting program are invalid. That puts Kennedy well below the 45,000 signature threshold required to make it on a New York ballot. Do you honestly believe that RFK Jr. would fake signatures on a petition that would put him on a ballot? I don't think so. I don't think that's what would happen. I mean, so why are they doing this? Do petitions even matter? I mean, I don't believe that Robert Kennedy and his workers went out there and just faked signatures. I believe those are real signatures. Now, the interesting thing about this is that voter registration has always been a leftist game. Well, when it comes to this particular petition, putting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the ballot, suddenly, you have to be a registered voter. Really? You got to be a registered voter, huh? They suddenly believe that they just have to do that. Okay, well, how do they prove whether they're a registered voter or not? Well, they take their card out there. They take their voter registration card out there. Okay, that's fine. Do they have to have their ID? Do they have to have ID to sign this petition? Something tells me they do. But not when you vote, when you actually vote in a ballot box or when a voting booth to go to a ballot box. This is ridiculous. So anyway, this lawsuit is backed by the DNC as they try to get Robert F. Kennedy out of the way. Why? Most of the people say, these very same politicians say, oh, RFK will take more votes away from Trump than they will the president of the United States. Really? Really? Then why are you working so hard to keep him off the ballot? This from the same political party that says democracy. Democracy is essential. Well, of course it is. And if democracy is essential, and that means that people get to vote based on what they believe, they actually get to make choices. What if some of those people want to choose RFK Jr.? What about that? Where does that lead? You see, it's the hypocrisy that drives me crazy. The hypocrisy of politics. Suddenly you have to be a registered voter because RFK Jr. is trying to get signatures for a petition to put him on the ballot. Do you have to have voter ID then to sign this thing? In point of fact, you probably don't. Why? Well, because if you don't have lead pipe cinch proof that these are genuine signatures, and they don't, well, you can just say, well, you know what? We don't believe these signatures are real. Which means they have to go back through every signature. There are 143,000 of them or something like that. I mean, that takes time, right? 146,135. But somebody from the outside can say, we just don't believe that 115,000 of those signatures are real. And it sticks. Strange that it's 115,000. That means it just takes it just past the 45,000 votes you have to be on the ballot. Isn't that interesting? I think it's dishonest. I think the president is in trouble. The loan handout program, not as popular as he thought. He appears to be there at an event for Juneteenth, and nobody's home. Just exactly who's running this country. It's not Joe Biden. This is the Wells Report.
IATA.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877 512 3895. That's 877 512 3895. 877 512 3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Thanks very much for joining us here on this broadcast. We are keeping our eyes on what's happening with the hostages and the Iran-Hamas conflict. The very latest comes from Fox News, and it's somewhat maddening. A senior Hamas official said that his terror group accepted the UN Security Council ceasefire resolution that was adopted yesterday, sponsored by the U.S., that would bring a truce to fighting in Gaza. Sami Abu Zuri confirmed the militant group's decision to Reuters on Tuesday, today, saying that Hamas is ready to negotiate over details, adding that it was up to Washington to ensure that Israel abides by it. Oh, really? The U.S. this is what Abu Zuri told Reuters. The U.S. administration is facing a real test to carry out its commitments in compelling the occupation to immediately end the war in an implementation of the UN Security Council resolution. Okay, that's fine. But then other Hamas leaders move forward with this. Osama Hamdan, another senior Hamas leader, echoed calls for a permanent ceasefire and said the group is ready for a fair prisoner exchange deal. But he said the UN resolution has flaws and, get this, that Secretary of State Antony Blinken is one of the obstacles to reaching an agreement because he acts solely according to Israel's wishes. Really? See, this is where all this pressure against Israel to cease fire to stop destroying what's left of the Gaza Strip. This is where all of it is absolutely unbelievably wrong. It's absolutely unbelievably wrong. Hamas is now blaming the Secretary of State of the United States as an obstacle in the negotiations. What should happen is this. Israel should be left to destroy anything in their way to get rid of Hamas. They should be left to do that. The horrifying screams of people starving, etc., and being obliterated by Israeli bombs and rockets and so on. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. We can't get out of the way. There's no place to go. Yes, there is. Take your kids by the hand and start walking north. Get away from Rafah. Now, I know why they don't do it, because if they do something like that, then a Hamas sniper will shoot him in the back of the head. Because that's Hamas. But it doesn't matter to me. It simply does not matter to me. What's happening in the Gaza Strip against Palestinians because of Hamas is not a genocide. It's a war that was started by Hamas. And these people now try to blame other people for, well, we don't have a ceasefire because of you. Wrong. If it was up to me, I'd say just let Israel do whatever they have to do and get to a point where you sign an unconditional surrender. Unconditional. All those people that took part in the planning for the October 7th atrocity, that war crime, should face trial in Nuremberg and have a first-class trial and then a proper hanging. If they, of course, are found guilty, which is no guarantee in any world court. But this is where a quagmire exists. This is a quagmire that is started not by, say, for example, circumstances on the battlefield. This is a quagmire that is purely outside pressure on Israel. All the while, Hamas thumbing their nose at this latest deal, trying to take some position of superiority. Well, we'll consider it, but the Secretary of State of the U.S. is an obstacle. Really? Two ways to remove the obstacle. Have Secretary of State Antony Blinken get out of the way and start working to the benefit of Hamas instead of Israel, which is the injured party in all of this, and then go home. Or what can happen is you can say, okay, you guys don't want to negotiate. We're going to keep obliterating you until you don't have any need to negotiate, because all of you will be in custody, and there won't be anybody to say, sign a piece of paper, because we've got all the leadership of your government headed toward Nuremberg for a trial that will likely end in your demise. Hamas will not negotiate. So why are we asking them to? Why do we keep putting things in front of them? They won't negotiate. Palestinians have never negotiated in good faith. Ever. If the Palestinians had negotiated in good faith, there would be a Palestine. But there isn't, is there? Why? Because Palestinians don't want it. Why? Because they want to kill Jews. Well, what about the innocent Palestinians? What about the fact they keep supporting Hamas? Does that make them innocent Palestinians? No, it seems to me that they are devoted toward the terror group that leads them, which is why they keep sending their kids to schools where Hamas operatives are operating in the basement and then crying on international television because they lost their child. It's at least negligence. To me, it also looks like second-degree murder of your own children. What's going on here? Why can't people speak about this plainly? I don't have any idea. All I can say is this. The Wells Report will return coming up in just a little bit. Stay put.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. Thanks for joining us. We report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion. What you think of the news, what I think of the news, what we think of the issues of the day. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. The January 6th mess was, in my mind, a peaceful protest. It was, however, blown out of proportion based on the fact that the people that went to the Capitol building that day and did remarkably little damage, did not deface statues, did not fire fireworks, did not do all of the things that are decorative of BLM riots and these anti-Jewish bigoted riots that are happening all around the country based on the fact that, well, for whatever reason, our university campuses have become a hotbed of anti-Jewish bigotry. Anyway, all of that. I mean, they're showing up at the White House. Showing up at the White House and defacing federal property. Where are the FBI wanted posters? We had them on January 6th. Where are the FBI wanted posters for all of these Palestinian protesters? Oh, I see. You're only arrested for illegality in a protest if you happen to support Donald Trump. But if you're supporting something that arguably is also supported by the Biden administration, that anti-Jewish bigotry, then you're just fine. Oh, I see. January 6th, on the other hand, this peaceful protest, blown out of all proportion based on politics, where people now sit in federal prisons, singing the national anthem, by the way. This arguably could have all been prevented if the Capitol building was properly equipped to do so. Why wasn't that the case? Many people have opined, well, it has to do with the fact that the security of the Capitol falls to the realm of the Speaker of the House. At that particular moment, it was Nancy Pelosi. And so there was a great deal of angry recrimination being foisted on Nancy Pelosi, who denied everything. But you know this hypocrisy I keep talking about? This unbelievable political proclivity to say one thing in one set of circumstances and say another thing in another set of circumstances, well, it's caught up to Nancy Pelosi. And what's funny about it is she's actually replied to what I'm about to show you. A previously unreleased video taken January 6, 2021 shows then Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying that she takes responsibility for law enforcement's lack of preparedness when a mob stormed the U.S. Capitol. A tweet on X by a House Republican panel contains video that appears to show a frustrated Pelosi being evacuated from a Capitol complex and intense conversation with Chief of Staff Terry McCullough about how the evacuation was conducted. You need to see this. And so we're bringing it to you here on the Wells Report. Check this out. As Fox News actually, I think it's Forbes that made this available to us. This is Nancy Pelosi. Listen to what she says.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient
That
resources.
is not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Yeah, it's straightforward. So at some level, Nancy Pelosi isn't necessarily the political sociopath she appears to be in public. When she gets behind closed doors, apparently she's able to say, hey, you know what? I take responsibility for this. She should. It's her responsibility. This came out of the House Republican panel that showed Nancy Pelosi frustrating and yelling at Terry McCullough. We have a responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on here, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached that we should call the Capitol Police, I mean the National Guard. Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with? You put that together with the order from the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military making National Guard troops available, and you've got the whole story. You've got the whole story. Well, you've got most of the story. I'm going to say something else here, okay? There are two processes when you're being entrapped. Entrapment requires cooperation from the person being entrapped. All those people at the Capitol building probably led by provocateurs, led by people that were there to indeed create problems, to attack police officers, the thugs. But the rest followed with them and gave the Democrat Party an amazing opportunity to cast everybody that supports Donald Trump as some sort of loose mob willing to take over the country. They called it a coup for a while. All of this in contrast with BLM riots, and now we have Palestinian support riots. And they're doing nothing about any of those, but boy, those January 6th guys, they got to go. But they did walk into that trap. And they knew they were doing it. There was a police barrier around the Capitol building. That was something that you would not cross if you were thinking, wait a minute, what are the implications here? Yes, I know. We just seen an entire summer where people that were protesting could go out and set fire to federal buildings. We're not going to set fire to federal buildings. What we're going to do is sit at Nancy Pelosi's desk, I guess. Do other ridiculous, obnoxious things. But they didn't try to kill police officers by locking them in their own headquarters and then setting it on fire. They didn't burn down Wendy's. They didn't loot Target. They didn't deface statues. And yet, they're in federal prison and these others are not. I just want to make that abundantly plain. You have to cooperate with entrapment to be entrapped. Yes, there could have been and should have been a perimeter of National Guard troops surrounding the Capitol. Probably would have been a good idea. And that idea was on the table. And Nancy Pelosi did not pick it up because she didn't like the optics. She didn't like the way it looks. Oh, really? I also want to know what General Mark Milley was doing. What kind of advice was he giving the Speaker of the House? What was that? So Her aide appeared to reply Capitol Security did believe they were prepared, to which Pelosi continued, they clearly did not know, and I take responsibility for not having them, just prepared for more. She then appears to take a shot at former President Trump's supporters who ransacked part of the Capitol, including her office. It's stupid we should be in a situation like this because they thought they had what? They thought these people would act civilized? They thought these people would give a damn, Pelosi said. What is missing here in terms of anticipation? They give us a piece of paper that says, walk through the tunnel, we don't walk outside. That's your preparation? Yeah, she made a lot of good points in this. The number one point, she should have done something more. She should have used the National Guard. They were at her disposal. When reached for the comment on the video, a spokesperson for Pelosi told Fox News Digital numerous independent fact checkers have confirmed again and again that Speaker Pelosi did not plan her own assassination on January 6th. This is a diversion. This is a diversion. Well, now what's going on is it's not just a Capitol incursion. It's not just a Capitol riot. Now it's an assassination plot. And oh, by the way, Nancy Pelosi was not planning her own assassination. And you're going, assassination? Where'd that come from? Well, it's a straw man argument. As the footage in this entirety, this is from Pelosi's office. All right, this is from Pelosi's office. As footage in its entirety plainly shows, Speaker Pelosi sprang into action in response to the attack on the Capitol, mobilizing the defense of the Capitol, urging the administration to deploy the National Guard, and coordinating continuity of government. Cherry-picked out-of-context clips do not change the fact the Speaker of the House is not in charge of the security of the Capitol complex, January 6th or any other day of the week. 3 years later, House Republicans are still attempting to whitewash this deadly insurrection. Yeah, it was a deadly insurrection because Ashley Babbitt got killed. Nobody else did on the day of January 6th. Nobody else. 2 suicides, death by natural causes. They need to stop talking about the deadly January 6th incursion because the only person that actually died that day based on the incursion was Ashley Babbitt. And that young woman was killed by a federal agent who, I don't know where he saw deadly force, but he shot her in the face. What was that? And so here we are talking about this again. And there's more to this story that's even uglier still. I'm going to show it to you coming up in just a couple of minutes. It's Barry Loudermilk. He's a Republican. And he's trying to chase down just exactly what happened to the rest of the evidence from the January 6th committee. Just exactly what happened to it. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe what has gone on with the evidence from the January 6th committee. Speaking of cherry-picked video clips. This is all about a true degeneration of patriotism in the United States perpetrated on the people of the United States by the leaders of the people of the United States. This looks more and more manipulated as time goes by. And the one thing that makes it all possible is the fact that people in the crowd actually cooperated in walking into the trap. This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. What do you think? What do you think? Does it change your idea about what happened on January 6th when Nancy Pelosi starts talking about how she's responsible for the security of the Capitol? And then, of course, her aides come out with a statement that says, no, she's not responsible. She is responsible. She is responsible for the security of the Capitol. She runs the Capitol Police. To say otherwise is, again, just misdirection. Or, in the terms of the parlance of the day, it's a flaming lie. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. This is the Wells Report. Nancy Pelosi takes responsibility for not calling out the National Guard. Finally.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. I took a lot of abuse from people because of my decision-making regarding the January 6th committee and that staged propagandist mess that they presented to the American people. I was waiting for something that was more appropriately fair, more appropriately an honest-to-goodness congressional committee investigation. But what I got these people that very carefully sifted through all of the evidence and only presented that which could damage President Donald Trump. And then what ended up happening was after they finished their work, they destroyed or what's worse, hid the evidence. They hid their own evidence so that people couldn't go back and realize the exculpatory nature of what was hidden. This from Life, Liberty, and Levin. This is Barry Loudermilk talking with Levin regarding this particular issue on the Wells Report.
Number one, in terms of this committee destroying and hiding information, have you made any progress?
Well, we've made progress in actually getting access to some of the documents that they moved to the executive branch, in my opinion, which was to keep it from public view and keep it from us. 4 documents went to the White House. 8 documents went to the Department of Homeland Security. We were able to get the redacted copies of the testimonies of White House employees, which we included in our report. And through pressuring the White House, we're finally they never gave us unredacted copies, but they allowed us to come to the White House and review the unredacted copies. And after looking at it, we realized there's enough in that was remained unredacted in the copies they sent us that showed a different story than what the select committee was presenting. DHS, for months, they just went silent on us. Now they're telling us, oh, we still haven't finished our review of these documents. It's been well over a year. They're slow walking it, but we have at least now have Homeland Security is, as of last week, said, well, look, you can come look at these documents as well. But for some reason, they sent us the key document that we were looking for, which was the transcribed interview of the driver of the SUV that Trump was supposedly take the steering wheel from. So we did make some progress there. We're still trying to break passwords, but the biggest, I think, violation of public trust and House rules was the destruction or the hiding of the videotapes of all the depositions. Those, I think, are clearly, they admitted to getting rid of those. And so of everything that they've done, I think that is the biggest violation.
Yeah, that's Barry Loudermilk talking about these people getting rid of exculpatory information that they themselves developed in the January 6th committee hearings. But they got rid of anything that would, say, for example, I don't know, make them look like jackasses trying to form a lynch mob to get a president at all costs, which is exactly what happened. These people hiding this information behind passwords have even encrypted this information to try to keep it hidden from the American people. And oh, by the way, what kind of national security implications have presented themselves in a committee hearing regarding a so-called incursion or insurrection into the Capitol building? Why do all these documents need to be redacted in the first place? What redactions are being made? Who's making the redactions? It's not like we're talking about, oh, I don't know, the latest information on the latest nuclear weapon the United States possesses. This is all public information, is it not? Why is it hidden? We know why. It's hidden because it embarrasses everyone on the January 6th committee and proves them to be liars. Liars. And this strikes at the very conspiracy of trying to destroy Donald Trump, to stand in the way of the people of the United States electing their own leader, to be able to stop what this leftist cabal is attempting to do to this nation. That's what all of this comes down to. And it's awful. And it's un-American. And it's real wrong. And it needs to stop. And it can. But not because of them. Because of us. This is the Wells Report.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report on a very interesting news day here in the United States. Hunter Biden found guilty on all counts in his federal firearms charge case. And what is next? Well, sentencing is next. And will the first son go to jail? Will the president pardon him? It is a test of courage and conviction and, of course, character. If you were the president of the United States and your son was headed toward federal prison, would you pardon him? I believe I would. Is that a character flaw? I don't know. The shrill taunts of no one is above the law seem to strike that. But maybe some people are. It's a very difficult situation. And you know why it's difficult, and you know why it's perplexing and vexing? Because it's all political. Now, Hunter Biden is not in a political situation. He committed that crime. He was arrested for it. He was charged with it. He was found guilty of it. Okay, there you go. But we talked about that in the first hour. There are other trials that are flying around that are political. The federal judge presiding over the classified documents case against President Trump has denied a motion to dismiss some of the charges in the indictment. Trump's legal team thought to throw out more than half a dozen of the 41 counts in the indictment, which accuses the former commander-in-chief of illegally hoarding classified documents from his presidency and conspiring with others to conceal sensitive files from the federal government. The defendants had challenged counts related to obstruction and false statements, but U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, issued an order yesterday saying that the identified deficiencies, even if generating some arguable confusion, are either permitted by law, raise evidentiary challenges not appropriate for disposition at this juncture, and or do not require dismissal even if technically deficient, so long as the jury is instructed appropriately and presented with adequate verdict forms as to each defendant's alleged conduct. So in other words, she's going by the book straight down the center line on this one. And because she's a Trump appointee does not mean she's a rubber stamp for Donald Trump, or she would have dismissed these charges. But she says, nope, that's not the case. Then there's the case of Steve Bannon, a former President Trump advisor and the author of the War Room podcast, who is headed toward federal prison. No pardon for him from anyone, because he defied a congressional subpoena. Not that other people have defied congressional subpoenas. They have. Most notably, Eric Holder, the attorney general during the Obama administration. He just said no. Did he end up in jail? No. Steve Bannon is. Getting back to that dual stage legal system. Steve Bannon, who has advised former President Donald Trump, does have a problem with his mouth. He has just warned the last two FBI directors to, quote, get your passport, get the hell out of the country because, hey, we're coming, unquote. The presumptive Republican nominee's threats about imprisoning his opponents have caused such concern among people in U.S. law enforcement and intelligence that some people are talking about leaving the country to avoid unfair prosecution if Trump wins a second term. Excuse me? Are you saying that you might be the victim of an unfair prosecution during a term of a president that disagrees with you politically? And you're thinking about leaving the country because of it? What do you mean? No one is above the law, right? Nobody's above the law. President Trump has just been convicted in a New York courtroom of felony convictions. No one's above the law. Are you saying that you want to avoid an unfair prosecution? Well, was Trump put in a position where he dealt with an unfair prosecution? Is he currently involved in other unfair prosecutions? Why is it that leaps to your mind in the first place? Don't you trust the U.S. justice system to do the right thing? You say you do, as long as it involves Trump. But what about you? Oh, I'm leaving the country because I don't think I can get a fair trial. Really? This, by the way, according to Andrew McCabe, who also has trouble with his mouth. Bannon, who served as an advisor to Trump's 2016 campaign in the White House and, as I said, is the author of the War Room podcast. He said that McCabe and his predecessor would be targeted by a Trump White House for having investigated Trump's alleged collusion with Russia and other activities, Quote, Bannon said, "We will hunt you down," unquote. Steve, shut up. Be still. Be still. First of all, Trump is not going after anybody. Whoever the attorney general is going to be, that's the person that's going to go through all that stuff. It was up to me. Do you know who I'd pick? If I was President Trump, do you know who I'd pick to be his AG? Trey Gowdy, the former South Carolina congressman. I'd absolutely put him right there in it because he's the right guy. He would be my attorney general in a blink. And he, by the way, would go fairly through all of this to see if indeed federal laws were violated. We know they were, but nobody's been prosecuted because the DOJ is corrupt at this point. The FBI is corrupt at this point. The DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, corrupt. The CIA has always been corrupt. But they got caught playing politics with John Brennan at the helm. Michael Hayden, the director of the NSA, the National Security Administration. At least they dumped all their information. Was that destroying evidence? No, it was just information. But they realized that they were going to get really hammered. And Michael Hayden is smarter than the rest of these guys, even though he sent that letter or signed that letter that said that Hunter Biden's laptop was indeed Russian disinformation or had the hallmarks of being Russian disinformation. So McCabe is worried. Comey is not going to say a word because he has some discipline, unlike McCabe. McCabe went on to say to Caitlin Collins on CNN, he runs the risk of really dismantling and greatly incapacitating the Department of Justice and the FBI. He described it as terrifying and frightening, citing Trump's vow to his supporters that he will be your retribution. Andrew, what are you worried about? Did you do anything wrong? My goodness, Andrew McCabe, why are you so worried? Why are you so worried about Donald Trump dismantling and greatly incapacitating the Department of Justice and the FBI? Incapacitation of the Department of Justice is written into the Constitution of the United States. You used a terror attack in 2001 to be able to dismantle a great deal of the Constitution and giving yourself capacity that the Constitution didn't allow you to have. And you lied to the FISA court, and you did this, and you did that, and you spied on the Trump campaign. All of these things happened. And now you're realizing, hey, wait a minute, Trump could actually win. I could actually be held accountable for some of this stuff. Well, I wouldn't worry about it with you, Andrew, because you did the right thing then, didn't you? Comey, did you do the right thing then? Of course you did. Don't you trust the justice system? You're not saying that it's warped out of shape so badly that it would be used as a political tool to imprison your own political enemies, are you? This is the hypocrisy that I've been talking about and warning about for decades. This is the duality, the duplicity that I've been warning about for decades. Rules for thee, but not for me. Are you kidding me? The answer is no. They are not kidding. They are serious. And now they're really, really worried. And it's, oh, by the way, not just people in the federal justice system. Rachel Maddow. I don't spend a whole lot of time talking to anybody on MSNBC or talking about MSNBC because it's a propagandist nightmare. But I got to be honest with you. This propagandist nightmare is funny to me. Rachel Maddow actually concerned about her future in Trump world. I've got some video from MSNBC. Let's take a look at it, shall we? It would be comical if it wasn't so stupidly tragic. All these people that have been running their mouths about Donald Trump and essentially violating the law for whatever reason now are realizing, hey, maybe they're going to have to pay for this after all. This is Rachel Maddow. Check this out.
Is what he both sort of inherently offers and now more and more explicitly offers, which is, if you pick me, that'll be the end of politics. And you won't have to deal with politics anymore. You won't have to deal with contested elections. You won't have to deal with contests or divisions when it comes to power. You'll have a strongman leader and I'll just do what I want. And won't that be a lot simpler? That's what he's offering. That strongman model is what the Republican base is enthused about. And that is something that sets him apart from every other Republican candidate. And I think that we're naive to think that he's tricking people into picking him and then surprise, he's going to act like a dictator. What he's offering is strongman leadership, the end of politics, the end of elections, the end or the sidelining or domesticating, as Ruth Ben-Ghiat says, of the judiciary and the Congress. He'll be the man in charge and he'll get it done. And that's what he's selling. And that's what they are very eager to buy.
Yeah. And that is a situation where this is an hysterical person concerned about her own crimes, because now what she says is she's worried about being put in a Trump camp. That's what she's worried about. She's now worried about the situation where she might be put in a camp by Donald Trump. Really? I mean, is that shrill and ridiculous? The answer is yes, it is shrill and ridiculous. Don't have any idea just exactly why they are going about this. I just don't. And for some reason, that's really cool. All right, fantastic. Before I leave, fine. Let me get rid of all of this. Thank you very much. Now, please, by all means, get me back to my my page. I don't understand. There we go. Wow, that was weird. So getting back to where we are here, Rachel Maddow honestly believes that she is going to be thrown into a camp. And here's what she says. She's largely built her program around the passionate criticism of President Trump for years. She's famously pushed since debunked theories tying the former president to Russia. She's concerned Trump, the presumptive nominee, will weaponize government and throw his media critics in jail if he defeats President Biden in November. Rachel, stop worrying. The First Amendment protects you. I know you don't care about the Bill of Rights, but the Bill of Rights cares about you. You're just doing what you're doing. You've got freedom of the press and freedom of speech behind you, so you can run your mouth all you want to and say stupid stuff like he wants to put me in camps. She goes on to say, I'm worried about the country broadly if we put someone in power as openly avowing that he plans to build camps to hold millions of people and to root out what he's described in subhuman terms as the enemy from within. Again, history is helpful here. He's not joking when he says this stuff. And we've seen what happens when people take power proclaiming that kind of agenda. What planet does she live on? Does anybody know? This is the United States. The country is the United States of America. We don't build camps and put people we don't like in them. But Rachel Maddow is here spewing because she's panicking. She's going to say anything she possibly can to keep this leftist bandwagon going. But the wheels are falling off because it doesn't work. Bidenomics is a failure because it's socialist. It's government control. It does not work. The manipulation of the economy for political purposes does not work. And the people of the United States are tired of all of this. She says that it'll be the end of politics. No, it'll be the end of dishonest politics. And that's what's going on here. Dishonest, propagandist, misleading, lying politics. That's the way I see it. Is Donald Trump going to bring this about? I don't know. I don't have any idea what Donald Trump's going to do if he gets back into office. All I can say is I know what's going on now that President Biden is in office. And that needs to change to something pro-American instead of pro-leftist. I don't even know what the left actually offers this country. It looks to me like what it offers is hate, miscontempt, division, miscontent, garbage everywhere in the form of people and their feces on the streets of America. That's what it looks like progressive politics brings us. No thanks. I'd rather have something else. How about you? This is the Wells Report. Back with more coming up in just a moment.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. Dishonesty. Dishonesty. It's based on lots of things, but political dishonesty is based on, in this particular case, what I continue to believe are a pack of lies. Democrats are pushing back in take two. This is from USA Today. Democrats are pushing back at an expected vote in the House to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt for refusing to hand over audio recordings of President Biden's interviews with Special Counsel Robert Hur. In a memo to Democrats sitting on the GOP-led House Oversight Committee, the top Democrat on the panel, Representative Jamie Raskin, he's from Maryland, chided Republicans for attempting to hold the Attorney General in contempt based on meritless and preposterous claims of obstruction. Well, I'm sorry, but here's the situation. Attorney General Merrick Garland has custody of the audio recordings and probably video recordings of the President of the United States with a special prosecutor. He is not allowing that information to be released. That is what we call obstruction. A congressional committee wants to hear those tapes, and yet it's not available. Those tapes are not part of a court hearing. There is no investigation going on. There is no reason for Merrick Garland not to turn those tapes over. And yet he will not. And so, as he will not, that is indeed contempt of Congress, who said, give us the tapes. He doesn't want those tapes to be made public. And you know why. Because at the end of those interviews with the special prosecutor, the special prosecutor said he was not going to charge Joe Biden because he's a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. This coupled with the Wall Street Journal article about how President Biden is slipping. And you saw earlier today, I played you a video of the president standing immobile in the midst of a Juneteenth celebration, literally frozen in place. This man is ailing. Robert Hur has audio proving it. Merrick Garland will not release that audio because of what it will mean to the Biden administration, the Biden presidency. As I said earlier in the broadcast, the wheels are falling off. That's exactly what's going on. So Raskin argues that Republicans are desperate to blame anyone for the utter failure of their impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. Has it failed? No, it's probably been parked because the Republicans don't want to move forward with it because they're losers. But what have you? House Republicans are preparing a contempt resolution against Garland to be taken for a vote as early as tomorrow, while a handful of GOP lawmakers have yet to say whether they're going to support the resolution. The coming vote sometime this week is a sign Republican leaders are confident they can pass it. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer and House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan have pressured Garland and the Department of Justice to release the audio recordings of Hur's interviews with the president after his report described Biden as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. The DOJ refused to hand over the recordings, but have provided GOP investigators with transcripts, arguing giving the audio would endanger future investigations if interview subjects know interviews could be publicly released. It's the president. He's being interviewed. It could be and will be released. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, which are public proceedings. This is all garbage. We know exactly why they don't want those audio tapes to be released, because they show President Biden as a bumbling, mumbling old man. Father Time wins every time. There is more on this particular kind of political manipulation of just about everything. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Prosecutor Michael Colangelo, formerly of the U.S. Department of Justice, have agreed to testify publicly before the House Judiciary Committee next month. This according to Fox News. The hearing is expected to take place July 2nd, just a day after the scheduled sentencing hearing for former President Trump, who was found guilty in New York on all counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. So what are they giving Alvin Bragg? An opportunity to spike the football on national television right in everybody's face? What's he doing? House Judiciary Committee Jim Jordan invited Bragg to testify, but due to scheduling conflicts, the testimony needs to be postponed. Instead, this Thursday, Jordan will host a broad oversight hearing on New York v. Trump on Capitol Hill, featuring testimony from Federal Election Commissioner Trey Traynor, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, Attorney Elizabeth Foley, who penned an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal during the 6-week-long Trump trial, saying the proceedings violated basic due process principles. They did. What are they going to do except give Alvin Bragg an opportunity to stand there puffed up and say, I was right, nobody's above the law, blah, blah, blah. Colangelo is a former DOJ lawyer. What's he going to do except to provide confusing, legalistic gibberish with a snide smile on his face? I don't know what the Republicans are doing here, but I think this is counterproductive. But we will see, won't we? This has been the Wells Report. Thanks very much for being a part of it. I'm John David Wells. Take good care, and I'll see you again tomorrow. All right, my friends, I got to get out of here. And thanks very much for being a part of this broadcast. If you find value in it, make sure you share it with your friends. Make sure that you subscribe to it. Ask them to subscribe. Hit the notification buttons. We're going to be playing the CNN debate between President Trump and Joe Biden live on this broadcast, and that's outside our normal realm of broadcast. So what I want you to do is I want you to watch the show, and I want you to share it and give us thumbs ups and do all of that, please. Until tomorrow. Oh, by the way, if you want to support the show financially, and baby, it helps. It really does. Go to patreon.com/The Wells Report. Patreon.com/The Wells Report. And you can sign up